ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So text 32. केचिदाहुरजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये. I think we read the 32 also. The Punya Shloka, which refers to Maharaj Nala and Maharaj Yudhishthir. Yeah, some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotee. You appear in his family as Sandalwood appears in Malaya Hills. Yes, I remember we studied this also. Okay, text 33. Apare vasudevasya devakyam yachito vyagad ajastvam asya kshemaya vadhaya cha suraddusham. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are unborn, yet you take your birth for the welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. So, Kunti Maharani is continuing the prayers. Here in this verse, the word Suradvisham is very significant. Sura means the demigods, or Sura also refers to devotees. So devotees are generally demigods, or demigods generally are the devotees, more precisely. So Suradusha means those who are envious of devotees or those who are envious of demigods. Generally, Asura, the two words, Sura and Asura. So Asuras are generally envious of Suras. What is the definition of Asura? Vishnu Bhakta Bhavais Daiva Asura Tat Vipatyaya. Those who worship Vishnu, they are called Deva. Vishnu Bhakta Bhave Daiva. Asura Tat Viparyaya. And Asura is those who oppose Vishnu or oppose Vishnu's devotees. So that is the definition of Asura. So Asuras, Vadhayacha Suradvisham. Suradvisham means Asuras. Asuras are generally defined by the word Suradvisham, envious of devotees or envious of demigods. So she says, my dear Lord, you appear to kill such asuras. And also, apare vasudevasya devakyam yachito bhaya. You appeared to respond the prayers of Vasudeva and Devaki, who are very much, praying to you for appearing in their family, appearing in their home as their child. So Krishna is actually compared with a kalpavriksha. Kalpavriksha means, like a tree who can fulfill all the desires of everyone. So, say for example, a person goes under a tree. He was very tired in the forest, and he was thinking, oh, I'm so tired, and I'm so hungry and thirsty, and I'm feeling, so fatigued. How nice it would be if all of a sudden a nice pond or water lake appears here with cool water so that I can take bath in this hot summer. And lo and behold, immediately, as soon as he finished saying this, there appeared a lake in front of him. So he was amazed. So he immediately, removed clothing and went and took shower in the pond. And after some getting refreshed, he came and he thought, how nice it would be if I could get nice foodstuffs to eat. I'm so hungry. But in the forest here, how can I get nice foodstuffs? It'd be nice if I get cooked food here. And lo and behold, there appeared all the delicious, beautiful preparations. So he ate sumptuously. So after eating, he thought, oh, nice, all my desires are getting fulfilled. You're sitting under a tree, kind of a kalpavriksha tree. He didn't realize that. He thought, how nice it'd be if I got a maid servant, a beautiful lady who comes and massages my legs, and serves me like a wife. And all of a sudden, the beautiful lady appeared, and the nice, bed appeared. He lay down there, and she started massaging his feet. And he started thinking, oh, whatever I'm thinking, everything is getting fulfilled. What if all of this disappeared and all of a sudden a lion appeared, chasing me? And lo and behold, immediately everything disappeared and a lion appeared chasing him. So, when a person is desiring to have a lake or nice food or nice woman or a lion, it is not the fault of the individual person. Whatever he desires, the desire tree simply fulfills that. So Krishna is compared to a wish-fulfilling tree. If somebody Krishna as enemy, Krishna simply fulfills the desire of that person and behaves with that person like a hardcore enemy. Similarly, a person wants to see Krishna as a child. Krishna agrees to become the child of that person. So Vasudeva Devaki, they being the great devotees of the Lord, they wanted to see the Lord as their child. And Krishna agreed to become their child. So Kunti Maharani is mentioning here that you appeared in the response to Vasudeva Devaki, and you appear to kill the enemies of demigods. Text 34. Bharavatarnaya ne bhuvo nava ivo dadau sidantya bhuri bharena jato hi atma bhuvarthita. Others say that the world being overburdened like a boat at sea is much agreed, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and you have appeared to diminish the trouble. So, different people sometimes have different opinions why the Lord appeared. In fact, the people in the higher planetary system, there are no atheists in the higher planetary system. They know that Supreme Lord exists, and they are highly learned in the scriptures. So sometimes their opinions differ. Somebody may say one thing, that why Lord appeared, somebody may say another thing, why Lord appeared. So Kunti Maharani already had mentioned many reasons, that what different people say, and these are all not non-devotees. Most of them, they are actually devotees. That's their opinion why Krishna has appeared in this world. Like previous verses we read, some say that you have appeared to please your devotee Yadu. Some say that you have appeared to, the response of Vasudeva and Devaki's prayer. Some say you appeared to kill the demons. Here she's giving him the reason. Say, some people say that because this world is overburdened by demoniac forces, it's like, in sometime in the ocean, a boat or a ship may be overburdened. It's not that they sail the boat being overburdened. No, sometimes it happened that the ship is overloaded, loaded properly with the appropriate load, but somehow there's some accident happens on the way and they develop some hole in the ship, and some water is filled in and ship cannot hold the same amount of load which was there before, because the water is filled in, more water is filled in, which has actually made the boat or ship heavier. So they have to unload it. They have to remove some load, or they have to pump out the water from the ship. So here Kunti Mani is saying that this world has become like an overburdened boat. If in the middle of the ship or a boat gets overburdened, it's a very, very fearful situation. The whole ship can sink. So when this world actually gets overburdened by the demons, even the great personalities like Brahma, they find themselves incapable of dealing with the situation. Markandeya Purana explains that in the beginning of the day of Brahma, there were actually before the beginning of the day of Brahma, in the night time, it so happened that when Lord Mahavishnu was sleeping, demons appeared from the ears of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu Karna Malodbhutam, the two demons, their names were Madhu and Kaitava. They appeared from the ears of Lord Vishnu, who was sleeping at that time. And as soon as they appeared, they went to eat Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma was very afraid and scared. So he prayed to Lord Vishnu. But Lord Vishnu was sleeping that time. So Lord Vishnu was sleeping and Brahma, he was praying, not that Lord Vishnu cannot hear the prayers. He's in Yoga Nidra. The Lord is fully cognizant. He will hear the prayers. So when Brahma prayed, Lord Vishnu opened his eyes. And Brahma prayed that, please, my Lord, protect me from these two demons. They are going to eat me. And then the Lord fought with the two demons and killed them. So in this way, he protected Lord Brahma. So even Brahma sometimes gets bewildered. He is not able to figure out how to deal with the situation. So in order to help Brahma, the Lord appears. He appears to destroy the demonic forces and thus diminish the burden of the earth. Because demonic people or demonic living entities, they are like a great burden on the surface of the earth. So Lord comes to reduce the burden of demoniac people. So we go to text 35. Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karmabhi shravana smarnarani karishyan iti kechana. And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned soul's sufferings from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. So this is actually one of the very beautiful verses. Bhavesmin klishamanana. Klishamanana means those who are klesha. Klesha is word derived from the klesha. So this material world is called kleshagni. Kleshagni means the fire of distress or fire of misery is always burning in this world. So klishamanana means those who are suffering in this material existence. Fire of material existence. Bhavesmin klishamanana. Avidya kama karma bhi. So this klesha or suffering is actually born of avidya, the science, and kama. What is avidya? Avidya is nothing but kama, the desires for sense enjoyment, and karma bhi, the activities which are born of kama. So avidya gives birth to kama, and kama gives birth to karma. It's actually in sequence. Avidya, kama, karma bhi. So living entities in this world, they are very much, fond of performing the activities for sense enjoyment for the sake of fulfilling their desires, which are born of their ignorance of their true identity. So, bhavesmin klishamananam avidya kama karma. And how these people can be freed from this miserable situation? Klishamanam, by shravanam, smaranam, by hearing about Krishna. When you hear about Krishna, if there are no pastimes of the Lord, or there are no teachings of the Lord given. So, say for example, in Christianity, they talk about God, right? In Muslim religion, they talk about God, but they don't know how God looks like, what are his activities, where does he live, what does he do living there? No knowledge, no information. And therefore, all these religions, they tend to lean towards impersonalism, thinking God has no form. Especially in Muslim tradition, they say, you should not worship any form, because, when Muslim religion was established, in the Middle East, people had all kinds of concocted forms. Just like, when in the Bible also we read, when Moses, he brought all these Hebrews, whom he freed from the slavery. He brought them to this holy mountain. And then he went in the mountain, he leaving all of them, below. He went up to the mountain to get the instructions from the Lord. And in the meantime, people down, they actually started making all kinds of concocted forms. There's a description in the Bible that they actually created a ram from the gold and started worshipping that as God. So this is what happens, people who are actually dull, who are devoid of any wisdom or knowledge, they create concocted religions. They created concocted forms of God. So in order to avoid that, some religions say, oh, God has no form. You cannot have the form of God in this material world. But that doesn't mean that God doesn't have any form. Not that God cannot manifest his form in the material world. That's another mistaken idea people have. But the Lord appears in this world from time to time. And this knowledge we get from the scriptures, in the Puranas especially, the Itihasas. So Vedic scriptures, Shrutis and Smritis, they actually inform us that the Lord appears in this world so that people can have subject matter to discuss, hear and chant about the Supreme Lord. So Krishna actually comes to this world in different incarnations to remove all kinds of speculative ideas from the minds of ignorant people. Some people, they say, oh, God cannot come here. And Prabhupada said one time when he asked, some Christian priest was talking to Prabhupada, and he said, God cannot come to this world. And Prabhupada said, why? Give me one good reason why God cannot come here. He's Supreme Lord. In Christianity, we call him a Supreme Father. So even if the son has become angry with the father and left him, do you think father can never come to meet the sons and to reconcile with them, to take them back home? No, he can always come. So people generally in this world who are actually ignorant, they have all kinds of concoction. They say God cannot come to this world. Or some atheists, they say there's no God. Or some foolish people, they say you are God. Or God is everywhere. All kinds of crazy ideas people will give. Nothing to do with the proper understanding of who God is, what he is, where he is, what is the activity that. So Krishna comes out of his compassion to remove all kinds of speculative ideas from the minds of people in order to give them the subject matter that they can hear and chant, even when he's gone from this world. Like, for example, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago he spoke. And even today, people discuss Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna left the message of Bhagavad Gita so that people can actually hear and chant or discuss about his subject matter. Krishna left the immense wealth of his pastimes in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, so that even now, 5,000 years later, we can actually discuss Krishna's pastime. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, therefore, he says in his song, Gopinath Jivera Karane Asiya Prapanche Lila Koile Subistana. Oh Gopinath, it's only for the sake of conditioned souls that you expand your pastimes in the material existence. Lila Koile Subistara. Krishna's pastimes are eternally going on in the spiritual world, in Golok Vrindavan. But he comes to this world to perform the pastimes. He expands his pastimes in the material world for the sake of living entities. Jivera Karane. So that the living entities should have divine subject matter to contemplate upon. Okay. We go to text 36. Shrunavanti gayanti grananti abhikshanam smaranti nandanti tavehitam jana ta eva pashyanti achirena tavakam bhava prabaho paramam padam bhujam. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly you see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So, many times people, they say, can you show me? Here is hint or a clear key given to access the darshan of the Lord. Shrunavanti, gayanti, granhanti, abhikshana. So Shruman means to hear, and Gayan means to chant or sing. Grananti means to accept it or take. Abhikshana, continuously, 24/7, by 365, for whole life. If somebody continuously hears and chants Krishna's glories, Smaranti, and remembers whenever it's, there's no opportunity of hearing and chanting, remembers. Nandanti. And in this way, he feels happy. He feels happy not by, eating nice foodstuffs. He feels not happy by having a lot of bank balance. He feels not happy by, satisfying his own false ego, having, many followers, or, having a lot of people knowing him or becoming famous in this world. None of these things. A person does not feel happy by all these things, but he feels happy by hearing and chanting Krishna's glories. So, anyone who relishes Krishna's pastimes in this way, she says, ta eva pashyanti. Such people only. Ta eva means certainly. So, they certainly pashyanti, they see. And achirena means without any delay. So, pashyanti achirena tavakam, yours, padambuja, your lotus feet. A person who is constantly immersed in hearing and chanting Krishna's glories, very soon, according to Kunti Maharani, very soon will get to see the lotus feet of the Lord. And those lotus feet of the Lord, she says, Bhava Pravaho Parmam. Bhava Pravaha. Bhava is used in the sense of repetition of birth and death. And Pravaha means, a swift current, like the river, is called Pravaha. The Pravaha of the river is flowing, especially, in the Himalayas, when the river is flowing, you can see the water flows with a great force. Even an expert swimmer can be easily swept away. Even an elephant can be swept away very easily. That is the force of water that there. So that's called Pravaha. Pravaha means very swift current. So Bhava Pravaha is the repetition of birth and death, which is like a current, which is like a flowing river, very swiftly flowing. In fact, Bhagavatam defines that this material world, which is a repetition of birth and death, it's like a river which this river has a current very mild in the center, but it has very swift current on the banks. Then you see, if you go to the river to take bath, the banks have very slow current. But if you go in the middle of the river, the current is very swift. Always, any river you go, the current at the the force of the current would be much more faster in the center of the river, and the banks will be kind of very mellow. But this material world is compared to a river which has current very not so swift in the center, but very swift at the banks. Now, what does that mean? That means if anyone wants to get out of the material existence, will feel tremendous amount of struggle, because the current is very swift. If somebody wants to get out of the material world, he will feel tremendous pain and misery in this world. Whereas the person who is materialistic, he will appear to be enjoying life, very relaxed life. People generally many times ask this question: why devotees appear to be suffering? It's just like when you go sometime to what do you call some picnic, or to say you go sometime for some vacation. So you go to the resort. When you land there, once you put your luggage and everything in the room, and you're there for say 15 days in the resort. So every time you come out of the resort, from your room to go to the restaurant or to go to the pool or go to doing some different activities in the resort, you appear to be enjoying life. You don't have any burden with you. All you carry is a room key you have, that's also in your pocket. So a person who's checking out from the resort, that means he's going back home. He appears to be having a lot of load of burden, he has luggage, and he's in the process of checkout, paying money, all the what do you call resources that he used, he's paying off for that. Appears to be like a misery, giving up his money and carrying so much burden with him, and he's checking out. And compared to that person, a person who's actually has been living there, and has no plan to check out, he simply carries the key and goes to the coffee shop and drinking coffee there. So one may think, oh, coffee shop person, this person is enjoying. These people are suffering. They are paying the bills and they're carrying so much burden, they're checking out. But no, they are going home. They are going back home. Home, sweet home. That's where they're going. And here the person is going on the pool and he's jumping from high and into the pool, and oh, this looks so cool. This person is enjoying the life so much. But he is very much in the resort. So this material existence is also like that. If you want to check out from this material world, it appears to be that you are suffering a lot. A devotee who is in the process of checkout may appear sometimes to be suffering. But a person who wants to live here in the material world, he appears to be more reasonably, having, say, peaceful life. And that's natural. So, bhava pravaho paramam, this current, swift current of repeated birth and death is uparamam. Uparamam means is finished, is destroyed by pada ambuja, by the lotus feet of the Lord. So one who sees the lotus feet of the Lord, for him the repetition of birth and death is finished. The person has no more repetition of birth and death. So such beautiful prayers Kunti Maharani is offering. So this process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra that we have adopted, by that process we can actually be assured that soon, very soon, we'll be in the presence of Krishna and be able to see his lotus feet. We go to text 37. Apyadesnastom swakrite hita krite hita prabho jihasasi swid surdo anujivana yesham nichanya bhavatah padam bhujat parayanam rajasuyo yojitam asam. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today? Though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all the kings are at enmity with us. Okay, so here Kunti Maharani is trying to invoke the compassion of the Lord. My dear Lord, because remember, Kunti Maharani started offering prayers when Krishna was ready to leave Hastinapur to go back to Dwarka. So she offered all these prayers, and now she's saying, my Lord, you have executed all your duty. That means you have destroyed all the miscreants, as Krishna says in Gita, paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkrita. So you have certainly destroyed the dushkritis or the demoniac people. You have executed your duties. But is it that you're leaving us today? You're leaving us knowing that we are fully dependent on your mercy. And right now, because this war of Kurukshetra is over, so many kings are dead and gone. So all the family members of those kings are at great enmity towards us. So we are actually in a much more serious and precarious condition than we were on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Because battlefield of Kurukshetra, You know that there are enemies standing in front of me with the weapons to kill me. But now we are having enemies, enmity with the family members of those kings who are dead on the battlefield. And we don't know who will behave inimical way towards us. So, since we have developed so many enemies through this war of Kurukshetra, it is not a very appropriate thing for you to leave us, my Lord, because these inimical kings, they will strike us anytime. So this is the mood of prayer of Kunti Maharani. Go to text 38. Kevayam nama rupabhyam yadubhi sah pandava bhavato darshanam yarhi rishikanam iveshitu. As the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities along with the Pandavas and Yadus will end at once. Okay. Another one of very beautiful prayers. She says, Kevayam, Kevayam means who are we? No? Now, this is actually in a question form, but this is actually in order to express the insignificant position of one's own self. So she says, who are actually we? People may think that, oh, we are great Yadus or Pandavas. She's referring to both the families, Yadu family and Pandavas family, because both the families were very famous 5,000 years ago when Krishna was personally present. Yadus and Pandavas, they were very famous. So she's saying, who are actually we? People may think that we are great Yadus or we are Pandavas, But all that is because of your presence in our life. So he says, if you do not, adarshana, bhavato adarshana yarhi, if you do not look at us, then our existence has no value, just like Rishikana Iveshitu. Rishika means, like the word Rishikesha is there. Rishikesha means the master of the senses. So Rishika means senses. So Rishikana means of all the senses. Now, Rishikana Iva Ishitu. In the living entity's body, all the senses, like, my eyes blink. I can see the things. My ears are able to grasp any sound vibration. Like, somebody says, hey, come here. So I can hear and I can go and respond to that person, right? So I have ears, I have eyes, I have nose. So suppose, somebody brings nice perfume and, this is so nice, immediately, because I can sense. So all the senses are functioning as long as the soul is there in the body. But suppose the soul leaves the body. As long as the soul is there in the body, everybody comes and asks us, how are you? And, people, apparently love or express their love towards the person. But as soon as the soul leaves the body, nobody wants to keep that dead body. Although our dealings are done through the body only. Srimad Shankaracharya has, composed a very beautiful verse. He says, Yavat pavano nivasati dehe tavat prichati kushalange yadgati vayu deha paye bharya bhipyati tasmin kai. He says, Yavat pavano nivasati dehe. As long as the life airs are there in the body, a person is breathing. Yavat pavano nivasati dehe. So as long as the person is breathing, the life airs are there in the body. Tavat prichati kushalam ge. People will come and ask you, how are you? Is everything all right? Yad gati vayo dehapai. The moment the life air leaves the body, bharya bhivyati tasmin kai. Even one's own wife will be very much afraid of that form. Like, suppose somebody dies and you tell the wife, you stay with your husband, because the dead body, tomorrow we'll do cremation. Today you stay with him, and take care of him. She'll be afraid. She can't live with a dead body. Bharya bhivyati tasmin kai. Even wife will be afraid of that dead body. So the fact is, as long as there is life here in the body has certain meaning. But as soon as the life air leaves the body becomes ghostly. Nobody wants to keep that body. The body becomes the source of fear. No matter how famous a person had been, no matter how beautiful a man or woman was, no matter how famous the person was, as soon as the soul left the body, it's all null and void. Even the most beautiful looking woman, no man will desire her if the soul leaves the body. So, this is what actually she's comparing. She's comparing that the Pandavas and Yadus, and all their fame and activities, whatever wonderful activities Pandavas did or Yadus did, they all are like, the body without the soul. If the soul leaves the body becomes useless. Similarly, if Yadus and Pandavas, they do not have Krishna, then all their name, fame, and their wonderful activities, they become all useless. So this is the sum and substance of what we discussed today. Text 39 onwards, we will discuss next week. So we finished till text 38. Thank you. If anyone has any questions, you may ask.